All right, I'm gonna film some more T6. Let me open up some slots here. Take care of some business. Get these rolling so I have some room to. It's important when you're playing, especially with the club card trade-in. You're trying to max out your commons so you can partake in the prism chest every day. And so being able to take some of your extra common cards and trade them in, so getting your commons maxed out is important. So you got to open up chests and hope for lots of common cards. All right, so our choices are Hornet, Thorn, and B52. Got to go with the Hornet. That's a club I use every day, and I want to max that one out. So I'll have to start working on it. I'm going to change some stuff in my bag here. I played a little bit this morning, and I'm going to switch up, and I want to see what it plays like if I use a Guardian, just so I can get refreshed in my mind. It's 1.2 for my Guardian, and I did switch to a Saturn. I like that a lot better. I'm going to switch a Guardian in all my bags, except for that one. All right, let's play some T6. T6. See if I can remember how to play these shootouts. There's nuances on these shootouts, and so like remembering the nuances when you're playing the shootouts is the key thing. So just playing them a few times and seeing how they respond on certain shots, and then going back next time and then making the correction. If you're practicing holes for a tournament, you got that stuff down. All right, this is much easier with a bigger ball, but with the wind that we have, I'm going to do, okay, you can do this. If you bring a 5 power ball, you're trying to get out into here. And if you get out here and you bring a big dog, you can get on into, and you can get an eagle it's not easy, but you can get an eagle. This is a birdie par 5 with an eagle shot. There is, only if you use a big dog and get over there on the other side, do you have a shot at Albie. Otherwise, you don't have a shot at Albie. The other way you can go at this is with a max overpower hook shot. And so hitting out here into the rough is not a bad deal because you can get over to where you want to get, but you have a shot at getting over to that fairway. So let's bring my number 1 bag. And I can't bring my number 1 bag because, I can bring my number 1 bag. Put it all on. Okay, the transition between the third cut of the rough, my white line on the transition between the second and the third cut of the rough, take the wind out. So there's 9-5. Take the wind out. I'm going to put the forward moving wind back in and see if we can get up there. And I think putting that forward moving wind back in is going to make me hit out here somewhere. Like I'm way off trajectory, hitting in those rocks. I would have been fine if I hadn't put that forward moving wind back in, but I put that forward moving wind back in. That's what jacked that up. But it doesn't matter because all I have to do is if I can get anywhere in front of that fairway rough island right there, then I've got a shot coming in. The farther up you get, if you get up there by the sand, you got a short iron shot. So if you're playing this in tournaments and you don't have 5 power balls, you come out here with a 3 power ball and try and blast it out there as far as you can. You can lay it up on top. The problem is if you lay it up on top and then you end up rolling out a little bit and end up at the top, then you got a really hard second shot. But even as bad as I shot that, you can see I'm going to be able to get up there in a really nice area. And I'm down here on the flat. That wasn't actually a bad side. It's 2 per ring, so there's 8. There's about 7-6. A little shy of 4 rings. Just trying to hit it perfect. No overpower. That's the key when you're using your sand wedge and your rough iron is try to hit those without doing any overpower. Take your lumps. Obviously, I would like to be up there by the sand. That gives me a short iron shot. From where I'm at, I'm in my long iron. So I'd rather be on my long iron than be back in my rough iron. You see it happen all the time. People hit from the rough to the rough, from the sand to the sand. Using a Goliath, trying to walk that sucker down to the hole. Now if they can get the wind right, and they didn't adjust for the wind at all. They're adjusting for the wind by putting that little bit of curl on there, which is not the way to adjust for wind. And they hit it great to the right, excuse me. Going up the hill and getting caught. You got to chip in from there. Those aren't the easiest chip in sometimes when you're going down the hill like that, though. Okay, so I got plenty of room on my red line. I'm going to get right up at it. Okay, 0.8. It's 1.9 per ring, so that's a little shy of a half a ring. Hit it one ring great to the right. One ring great to the right. I'm just sticking it up there by the cup. Take my putt, move on. Let's see if my opponent can get it in the hole from up there. Shouldn't be any problem, but it could be a problem. This is where you put that little teeny bit of backspin, just like a little teeny sliver, and it'll stop that run out. Because what you don't want it to do is speed up as it goes down the hill. So when you're doing these downhill shots, putting on a lot of topspin may be detrimental because it'll pick up speed. And with the slope, sometimes it'll throw you off trajectory. So those type right there can be dangerous, even though you're that close. Going to a shootout if I can make this putt. And there's no guarantees that I'll make any putts because I'm not the best putter in the world. My goal is to never have a putt longer than that. My real goal is to think of that putt as a long putt. All right, and I switched up my Guardian. This is one of the shootouts that I switched my Guardian up. I switched to a Guardian because with a Guardian, I've got plenty of room here. And I can get right into that area right there. And I can backspin that sucker to the hole. Let's see how it works. 1.2, so that's 6. If I can get it the right angle. That's 6. That's 7. That's 8. That's 9, 6. And a little. Isn't it perfect? Let's see if it sticks. I think if I'd have put all the backspin on it right there, all of the backspin, I could have got where I was actually on the green. I could have went straighter at the cup. But this is definitely one of the holes that I switched my Guardian up to. And the deal is that I probably wouldn't play that shot. I'd play something very similar to that in a tournament, but I'd bring a better ball so I'd have more options. I could start off over here and I could side spin it to the cup. But in one-on-one play, especially if you're committed to playing with a Marlin, the deal is instead of struggling around with certain clubs, bring clubs that will win the shootouts and then figure out how to use those clubs in the regular play instead of the other way around. Because you're either going to win, in my mind, you're either going to win out on the course because you stayed in the fairway and you got on, you got your eagle, and your opponent epic failed. They ended up in the rough. Let's see if they'll rematch. Or you're going to a shootout. And so, if you think of it, my goal is to really try 50% of the time to win out on the course. And that way I only go to a shootout 50% of the time. And earlier I played, and I think I played 8 games and I won 5 of 8. Trying to keep your percentage up. I really do wish they would make it so that we can see what our percentage is for the last 100 games. so you can see how you're doing, especially if you're moving up a tour. Let's talk about clans while we're shooting this video. I'm really, I wish my opponent went first. Dang, this is a great hole to bring out a Titan on, because with a Titan, I could get up there in 2. And I'm not going to be able to do it with that. I'm going to try it. So I'm right on the transition between the rough and the fairway. I'm going to leave the wind in because it's forward moving wind. Yeah, I better address that just a little because I'm going to move it over a couple rings. But normally I set my transition up there. I come at this with a Titan. And I set my ball guide right on the transition between the rough and the fairway, and I do a max overpower hook shot. But because that wind was going to push me forward, I would have clipped up there. And I'm trying to get as much distance down here as I can possibly get. With a Titan, you can get down there where you can engage the green on the other side over here. I know a lot of people come at it from this side, from the from the left, but I'm coming in at from the right, and you can get on and 2 and get an eagle. And I can still do that with a Marlin. So my opponent's taking the traditional route here, where they're going over to that side right there. And this side over here is a guaranteed, it takes 3 shots to get onto the green. So the 3rd shot, you have a shot at eagle, but it's a distance shot. Because there's no way you're going to get up on it in 2 on this side. Well, I'm not saying no way. I suppose you could have a high enough wind that you could get over to that, but that's not normally the deal. And I like to come at it from this side over here. Okay, we're going to do 4-4, so there's 3-6. That leaves me to do about that much. And I'm going to do max overpower and a little bit of curl. Because I have nothing to lose here, because my opponent, it's going to take them 2 more shots to get up there, but I have an opportunity, if I would have missed that sand, to get up there where I can get a chip, or I'm on the green, because once it gets to the top, it'll roll down to the cup. Look at it, it's in a bowl. So I always come at this hole in one-on-one play exactly like that, because I find most of my opponents most people will go to the left, and it's guaranteed to take them 3 shots to get on the green. I mean, there's just no 2 ways around it. So I have a free shot at trying to get up there. Now, if I'd had sniper right there, I switched over to the Guardian. If I'd had a sniper right there, I could have got on, because I have topspin with a sniper, and you could have weave and bob that ball up there. All right. Let's see if we can get this in the cup. Okay, from this distance, it's going to push it back this way. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if I got my wind adjustment right. That is too freaking cute right there. I'm telling you, Playdemic's gotten way too cute on how they do that, because the deal is that the cup is a cylinder that's been cut out in the ground, and it has a 90-degree surface on the top, a 90-degree edge on the top. That swirling around is what you see when you have a cone, and it's swirling around the cone, and the centrifugal force is pulling it out of the hole like you're on some gyroscope and you're working for NASA. Okay, unfortunately for golf, or fortunately in the real world, that cup edge is 90 degrees. But for some reason, Playdemic feels like it needs to be a cone, and so it's swirling out. And once that ball goes in a downward trajectory into that hole, there's this thing called gravity. And we have it in the real world, but evidently they don't have it in the game, and that ball would go in the hole. And that is a new dynamic in the game. That has not been here since the game started. That has been, and it's been getting more and more prevalent over the last 2-3 months. of updates that they've done where somebody there has gotten this bright idea that they can manipulate the game. And what they've done is they've taken the edges of the cup out of play. So when you go to the cup, you need to be fully in the cup. If the ball is even partially on the edge, you have a high probability that you're going to swirl out of the cup. And that's not possible on a 90-degree edge. It's only possible on a cone. And the golf, that hole, that pin is not balance those out. 2.4, get a little less than 2 rings. Over here, had that angle just a little wrong. I'm gonna put max curl on it. Hit 1 ring grade on the inside. Yeah, so if it sounds like I'm a little bit irritated about the swirling around the cup, I think that's total BS. That's not how it would work in the real world. If you have a Guardian, you can get that close with minimal effort every time. You do that exact same shot. You go up to the red line, you'd be 2 or 3 rings off the transitional surface over here. You put on max backspin and 3 or 4 bars of left-hand side spin or right-hand side spin, maximum curl, and you're that close every time. Even whether you hit a great to the left or great to the right, perfect, it doesn't matter. The chances that you're going to end up in the hole are almost zero, but you're going to be close every time. This is a super tough hole to get a hole in one on. And my opponent beat me. Awesome. Nice shot. Good job. See if they'll play again. Come on, man. Come on. There you go. Good job. Let's build up the community here. Let's start playing each other. I really liked it when you could play friendlies and you could play for, there was no 3 game, or not friendlies, but you just out here, you wanted to replay somebody, you could play longer than three times. I gotta go for the shot again. I gotta go for it. Transition between those two. See if we can bounce, see how far we can get out into that. See if I can get any bounce off of that rock. The thing I like about from up here is that you can engage this right here from a straight angle. So you can get to that flat part down there. But distance-wise, where I'm coming in at it here, I can move out just a little bit from where I am. And I've got some room. That spot that I have set up there is set up for a Titan. So it has side spin. More side spin, and more distance. So I can actually come to the left in that shot setup out there where I set up that max overpower hook. I can actually pull that over probably 2 rings to the left. Back at it. The thing I do really like about that shot is I don't have to worry about overshooting the end down there ever. And it's about 6.3, and that puts me about 2.5 rings into power. I'm not doing any overpower that makes the needle go faster, but I am in power. Hitting about 2 rings straight to the left. And just lay it up. So if you have a 5-power ball, you can go for the shot to get all the way over, and it's very wind dependent when you're doing a 5-power shot. So if you've got a 3 wind, you may or may not be able to get over there. In the last tournament this was in the qualifying round, we had like a 5-4 wind, and everybody was getting over. And then in the qualifying and in the opening round, they gave us like a 3-2 wind, and that 2.5 miles an hour in wind that it dropped was just enough that everybody was getting caught up right in the rough. And then in the weekend round, we got the highest wind that we got all week. So then everybody was able to get that shot again. And so it's kind of the manipulation of the wind. kind of wind do I got, so I'm going to be able to adjust for that. I'm going to go right at it. I ended up a little short last time, but I'm going to go right at it. Okay, so 246 minus 3. It's 5-7, and I'm just a titch in the power. So I'm going to do just a titch in the power. Hitting it perfect. See if I got it all right. Close. That's the thing about bringing backspin clubs is that some of these holes that are really tricky like that, where you have to finesse it in, you can come at it with backspin and you can put on max backspin and go right at the cup and get super aggressive with it. So if you make good wind adjustments, typically when you're doing backspin, your chances of getting it in the cup are pretty low, but the deal is that you'll always be close. And so putting pressure on your opponent by always being close is the deal. Good God. Oh, good. Close. If I could get my things right. Yay. Oh, get in the hole. See if my opponent can get in there. Let's check them out. 5,600 games, 131 million won. Excellent. They've been playing a lot of T6, some T7, mostly T6, up to T7. Very unlikely they've played at that amount of games that they've played anything higher. And if they have, just a few. If the wind is super low here and I have an accurate club, I'll do that island. But not when we have an extra mile. So usually on this, I'm somewhere off of this peninsula out here. And I know from playing it quite a few times, it's best to have just a titch of backspin. And I like to be at least 2 rings off of any transitional surface. That's my own thing. That's why, I mean, when you watch me play, unless I'm trying to hit into the rough, like I was on the last one, I don't get in the rough a lot or end up in the sand a lot, is because I always leave myself enough room. So I hit a great to the right, or excuse me, great to the left right there. And if I would have set that shot up like a lot of people, I would have caught the rough down there. But I know that that shot's not going to catch the rough down there because I left myself 2 rings of space. So I can hit a 2-ring great in many cases to the left or the right. If it seems like I'm nonchalant on some shots and I shoot it off and I don't really care that I hit it 2 rings great to the left or right, I really don't care that I hit it 2 rings great to the left or the right, because I know I left myself enough room down there to hit a 2-ring great to the left or the right. It's the difference between how you play one-on-one versus how you play in tournaments. In tournaments, on drive shots, I'm still nonchalant. I very seldom ever hit into the rough or the sand on a drive shot. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's the exception rather than the rule, because I always leave myself room. On the shot going to the cup, that's a different story. But the drive shot, I'm always, and if I have to make a fairway shot to lay up, I always leave myself enough room for maneuver. Good game. Good game. I remember the very first time I played that hole, epic failing, and had to go find a video from Tommy. And there was nothing out at that time, very little content out there. We couldn't figure out what our clubs were going to be when they got to the next level. And that was back in the day when there was no Golf Clash notebook. There was nothing. All right, I am working this shot. So last time I had my ball guide going right at this. And I want to be over at least a good ring into the sand, maybe just a little bit more. And then I'm going to take the wind out. So there's 2, 4, 5, 5. Take the wind out. I'm trying a max overpower hook. There is a max overpower hook shot on this hole, and I'm going to learn how to do it because I'm done playing this hole where I'm trying to get onto that little island. And I'll go back and watch this, rewind right there and see where that hit. So I actually hit into the sand, so I needed to go out even farther. Maybe maybe what it was before is I had my white line on the transition between the fairway and the rough, and I need to go out even more. I need to put my white line on the transition between the sand. I'm going to find a spot out there. I'm going to keep working it because on most of these holes, I know exactly where the spot is. Like if I do those max overpower hooks, I know where to set it up, but I'm done hitting onto this island and laying up here because the deal is that I'm working really hard to get it up there and the second shot blows. So I'm done. Okay, 2, 4, 5. Puts me about 3/4 of a ring into power. I want to hit it straight forward. Oh, and I'm going to end up in the sand down there, or the rough, or both. I'm willing to take my lumps on holes like this where I'm trying to do a shot. I'm willing to put it out there and lose the hole to learn how to do that shot, because especially in one-on-one, I come here with a marlin. So I can go out there and set up with a marlin, and I can be down here and actually have a shot to make that eagle, as opposed to hitting up there in the top and 50% of the time getting caught up, or having to bring out a bigger ball in order to achieve it because we're playing against a headwind. So I'm going to figure out how to do that max overpower hook. And in the process, I'm sure I'm going to end up losing several times. Get in the hole. All right, I have to make the shot. Would have been better if it was in the fairway, but I still got this in my bag. Let's see where we're at in our club. There's max. There's mid. So I'm in the 3 per ring range. So 3, 6, 9, and a little. Hit it great to the left. It's jogging. Close. That works. Good game. Good game. You got to be willing to take your lumps on some of these holes in order to practice shots. Clans. I was talking about clans earlier, and I got sidetracked because we got on that one hole. Oh, I wish they would do something with the clans. I wish they would give us, we're an expert 2 clan, and there's the way that the holes are rated. Good luck. You got, let me open that chest. Right now you can play friendlies, and I'm sure that Playdemic is all concerned about donating coins to your teammates. But once you get to a certain level, the donating coins to a teammate, I mean, come on, get real. Most of us don't care about coins. Tours 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's the rookie stuff. You get to Pro 1 and the clan structure, you should have Tour 5 opened up to your clan. You get for friendlies. Then Tour 6 if you're Pro 2. Pro 3, Tour 7. Expert 1, Tour 8. Expert 1, Tour 7. Expert 2, Tour 8. Expert 3, Tour 9. And then Masters 1, Masters 2, Masters 3, so that if you're in a Masters 3 group, then you have access to all of these to play friendlies. And then what you could do is you could pick one. Like, you could pick one of the courses that are in here. So if you could do Tour 7 and Tour 8 or up to Tour 8, you could pick a course and say our home course is going to be Santa Ventura. So when you play friendlies, you only play friendlies at Santa Ventura, or do something. Give us there's no benefit here unless you're trying to be a C100. I mean, all of the focus is trying to be on a C100. They've had the clans out for 17 months, and other than adding some new divisions at the top, they have done nothing with clans. Nothing. I mean, in my clan, we do an in-house tournament, and so we have to keep track of what everybody's finish was. And Playdemic could easily work in that math for us so that we could have clan tournaments. And it could be, they could do it in a bunch of different ways. All right, I like this whole extra mile. Let's put it all on there. And I want to end up there. I'm going to come out here, do a max overpower. I'm going to come out into this range right here. I'm going to do 5 rings off the transitional surface. I'm going to make sure I take out any side wind. So all I'm leaving is the headwind. I'm going to do a max shot. Try and get up there as far as I can. And that shot right there, other than hitting it too far and actually bleeding out into that rough right there, I could have hit that shot 2 rings great to the left, and I would have ended up running into the fairway down here because it's shorter down here than it is at the top. But I'm going to end up down here where I'm in my short iron or my rough iron range, even if I end up in the rough. I was giving myself the entire course to the right-hand side. That's why I was way out there. What I was trying to do is give myself more room on the sand. So no matter what my trajectory coming through is, the sand was pretty much out of play. I would have almost had to hook it to the right in order to hit that sand. Because anywhere out there in the rough and the forward rough, I can get on. But if I'm in that sand, I can't get on. And I can tell you that from personal experience. And I have the absolute perfect club for this. I am not into hitting off of these faces. You see some people do rough bumps up here. I am not that guy. Not on that face. On some of these hill faces, you can get away with that stuff, but not on that one. Okay, it's 1.9 per ring, so 1.1 is just a smidgen over a half. If I can get the right angle. Hitting it perfect. Gave myself a look. Close. Should have had my caddy pull the pin. How about an 18-hole tourney? Anybody up for that? Anybody who would be interested in an 18-hole tourney, start putting that stuff all over social media. When they first started, and even right now, think about it. When you're on hole 1, somebody else could be on hole 10. That's why they don't show the scores. They show you what you got on that hole. You got an eagle, you got a birdie, but they don't show what your overall score is in the tournament, because that person may be playing on 10 and you may be playing on 1, or you may be playing on, you both may be on 1, or you both may be on 10, but it could be the other way around. So they can get twice as many people through, so you're more apt to get live opponents, because they can put anybody who's playing that hole in a pool. And that was a problem when the game first came out, because we ended up playing replays all the time, especially when you were up at higher tours. That's why the game came out January, February, March of 2017, and within a month, Tommy and a bunch of those guys were billionaires, because back then when you played against a replay, the replays weren't that tough. I mean, they'd be 5, 6, 7 yards off, and all you had to do is get within that. And it wasn't like it is now, where you can hit 1.1 and they're 0.9. So the replays are super tough. They weren't super tough back then, and almost everything you got was a replay. If you and a buddy, this is how it was. If you and a buddy got on at the same time and you were both playing Tour 10 or Tour 11 when the game first came out, there was a pretty good shot that you guys were going to get matched up together. And if you didn't, you could literally forfeit, and within a couple rounds, you could get matched up with your buddy. And back then, there wasn't a three game thing. So like you could play in tournaments, and if you went from one hole to the next and you were talking to each other on the phone and said, okay, I'm going to hit it right now, and you both hit it at the same time, there'd be a good chance that you'd get matched up with your buddy. Tommy and a buddy of his named Nicholas, they used to get matched up all the time. Like they'd play the whole tournament, and every hole they played each other. Maybe one or two in the tournament they get caught up with somebody else, but for the most part, they played each other the whole tournament. My buddy Scooby and I got on one day and got matched up, and we played for like 3 hours. But it would be nice if they would have an 18-hole tournament, or if they came out with a tournament that we have. I think I counted them up. There's like 31 courses now, and some of them are doubled up. So there's probably less than 31 total, but we have over 27 different courses, and it would be nice if instead of coming out with new courses, they came out with the back 9 on some of those courses. I'm going to try hitting. I like hitting from the top of the hill, but I've been having some problems with clipping this rough down here at the bottom. So I'm going to go up just a little higher on the hill. 2.9. It's 1.9 per ring. So 2.9 is about a ring and a half. Hitting it, I don't know, great to the right, at least a ring, maybe 2. That's the way I normally come at this hole, and then I can float down that hill. But I try and stay down lower so that I'm pinching that rough over there, but I've clipped the rough the last few times I've taken that shot, so just getting really close to the hole. That shot from up there, you can get really close to the hole every time. Good game. See if they'll rematch. Rematch, come on. Come on, you can do it. No rematch today. Let's open up that chest. Rolling through the chest. Trying to get 4 gold chests today, so I'm just rolling. Just rolling. Don't keep track. What do we got? We're at 37 minutes. I'm going to play for one more hole. I'll give you a bonus hole. Bonus hole. Could you imagine how cool it would be if we had 18-hole tournaments? I mean, your notes as far as like you'd have to, it would definitely benefit players that have more skill, that know how to take out wind and know how and make notes and do that stuff. It would definitely benefit those players because you're not going to get that second look at it. You're only going to hit those holes qualifying round. You know, it would make the qualifying round like they could choose, they could do it where they could still do like you're playing the front 9 to qualify for the tournament. But if you qualify for the tournament, then you're going to play 18, and it's on 18 different holes. Now we may get caught up where we get more replays, but I would be okay with that. I would be okay with getting more replays in that type of a tournament setting, but having 18 holes to work with. So bringing a bigger ball here, if you're going to hit out like that, doesn't really benefit you. So I'm going to come out just a little farther than I have been. I've been right there on the transition between the third cut. I'm going to come out just a little bit more. And I'm going to adjust for that little bit of wind. I'm going to leave the wind in, see if that carries me out there. What I need to do here is a reverse hook. And see if I can catch that fairway up here at the top. And right along those rocks. That club doesn't have quite enough side spin and enough power to really get me out there towards the end. But you can see how much distance they got with a Titan versus me with a Marlin. So you can net, if you do that max repair hook shot, you can net some extra distance. I'm also like right now, the tournament, the Pacific Cup, we're playing 4 different courses. We have courses. We have enough courses that, right now we should be playing Gasheko Bay or Juniper Point or one of those, Maple Bay, or playing one of those instead of cutting them up and playing multiple different courses. It kind of defeats the purpose of having courses. Might run into that a little. Nirvana 1-4. It's at Max Club. Put just a little on it because it's not really going to change it on the end. That curl, the way that it's going, it's not really curl. It's just the terrain. That might put me in my short. If I had a bigger ball, that would definitely be my short iron range, but that might still be that might be like my minimum long iron. I'd really like to see where we started playing at courses, so we're not jumping around. It kind of defeats the purpose of having courses. Otherwise, they should just have 165 holes, and then they go, we're playing hole number 1 and hole number 6 and hole number 9. It's like going into your favorite town and playing in a tournament. And you play hole 1 at one course, and then you got to get in your car and drive to another course and play another hole at one of the other courses, and then come back and play it at another course and just drive around town all day. Close. On the fringe. You're actually better off on the fringe there than you would be on the green. All right, with my Saturn, I got plenty of club here. So I'm going to go right at it. Six, 7, 2, 4, 6. I don't know if I want to do a max adjustment here. 2, 4, 6. Because I'm kind of a mid club. I'm going to just do a 3-ring adjustment. Hitting it perfect. Close. All over it. Hit on that side, hit on the back side, and then let up on this side. So I had everything covered but the hole. You take very little chance when you come at these holes with backspin like that. You can end up very close to the hole. You don't make those shots all the time, but you come very close to the hole. And I've seen opponents get off the edge like that and miss those chip-in shots. So what we're doing is we're just increasing the odds that we're going to win. We're constantly putting pressure on our opponent to get up on us. Trying to avoid epic fails. See if we can beat him in the shootout. I'm liking the change to the Saturn and the Guardian for the shootouts because that's getting me much, much closer on those holes. So the whole goal is on these holes is to be able to come here and stick it. Where's my red line? I'm right at the red line. I got room to maneuver. Two, 4, 6, 8, 9. I'm going to do 4 3/4 rings, and that puts me about 3/4 of a ring into power. So I'm going to put that 3/4 of a ring into power back on. Hitting it perfect. And off trajectory. You get better on this hole. If anything, that should have been an over pull and not an under pull. The way that it ended up on there is I under pulled the wind And it should have actually been an overpull with what I did. So that's not downhill. So I didn't have to add on any wind. If anything, it looks like it's uphill and I would have taken off some wind. But my opponent epic failed and didn't get up to the top. Good game. Gave me the win. I always like it when a Marlin beats a Titan. The king of balls. See if they'll rematch. No dice. All right, that was some more Tour 6. I think we got a couple of the holes too many times. There's a lot. That's what's funny about this is there's a ton of holes in the courses that are in that, and you keep getting the same holes over and over again. All right, what do we got? 45 minutes. All right, there's another 45 of T6. Thanks for watching.